Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday tea and toast. Hope you are all doing okay this morning. I had a week off last week, so I'm sure you all must have missed me so much, but I'm back, I'm raring to go, I've recharged my batteries, so yeah, back to tea and toast. So before we start, obviously, those of you who've watched us before, we all work at the Yard. Now, obviously, we're going through this horrendous pandemic at the moment of COVID, so the doors at the Yard are closed, but we are still open. So what we've done is transfer our whole programme over to online, and all throughout the day, you'll see different members of staff and different volunteers, and we've got lots of lovely placement students with us at the moment doing various different things. So don't feel like there's nothing going on. If you're looking for something to get involved in, check out our social media, and especially on our Facebook page, we have loads and loads of stuff going on. So we are still going, and actually it might not be that long now until we're back in the building, but we'll speak about that in a minute. So for those of you who have never seen me before, I'm Jasmin. I'm a conversation starter at the Yard, and so is the lovely Georgia. She's also a conversation starter, and we predominantly work with the community side of the Yard. We do all the teas and toasts. We do something called a community circle, which actually is once a month, and it's today. So you're going to be sick of our faces by mid-afternoon today because we're coming back on, but we'll tell you about that at the end as well. So let me just give a quick introduction to all these lovely faces we've got here. So we've got our lovely placement students. So we've got Beth, Chelsea, and Sarah and Lauren. So they are being super duper, coming on placement with us from uni and helping out with all the different things that we've got going at the Yard. And then we've got our two amazing volunteers who are Laurel and Doris. Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Are we all okay today?
Yeah.
Good.
Cool. So go on then,
Shall
Lauren.
we do our internal weather? So I will start. I'm quite sunny today. I actually went out for a food shop this morning and it was really hot and I had my big coat on and I was absolutely boiling. So I'm quite sunny today with a little bit of cloud. I had a bit of disappointing news this morning, but I've decided to not let it ruin my mood or affect my day. So very sunny.
Amazing.
So
You've
should
got
we
a positive mindset.
Yeah. Should we go backwards? Should we start with Sarah?
Yeah.
So what's your internal weather like today, Sarah?
Ooh, I think I'm more like you today as well. I'm just bright and just raring to go. Bright, clear, raring to go.
That's what we love to see.
Yeah.
And Beth?
I'm a bit of a tornado today. I've got a lot I need to get done today.
Okay. Oh no, tornado. That's okay. We'll have those days. It's fine. And Doris?
So I'm feeling a little bit cloudy today, so I'm a little bit uneasy, just trying to break through into the day, but I'm getting there slowly.
That's good. So we've got a bit of a mixture so far, a bit of sun, a bit of tornado. I'm anticipating George's exotic taste. Laurel? Should we go with you, Laurel?
Okay, mine's a bit mixed. I need to get a lot done today, so I need to be doing lots. So mine's a bit in the middle, so a bit cloudy, a bit sunny, a bit of everything today.
Nice. There's a mixture again. And Chelsea?
I am very similar to Beth. So I'd say a tornado at the minute because this is my first tea and toast, so I am a bit nervous for this. And yeah, there's loads of stuff that needs to be done that is just piling up.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, do you know what? Welcome to your first tea and toast. There's loads of us here. They're going to support you and help you. And it will be fun. It's just a conversation between all of us. So we will value your input. Georgia, what's your weather saying?
Thank you, Lauren. My internal weather is I am a big, sparkly rainbow.
Whoa.
I'm all bright, I'm all cheery, I'm bringing you hope, I'm bringing you springtime, I'm bringing you everything.
We love that.
I don't think I've ever heard Georgia have a bad weather day. Has anyone else? I mean, this girl, she's constantly good weather. I don't know how she does it. Honestly.
I think she always seems to be on point and brings,
She
as
does.
she says, a sparkly rainbow to
I think it's
sessions.
good to have someone like this all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing with the rainbow, everyone can see it, so you can give it to all of us.
Yeah. And there's a pot of gold at the end. I want that.
Yeah.
Got my gold headband on, so
Oh yeah. And
it's so good. So I'm really sunny today, to be honest with you. I was just telling all these guys, I woke up stupidly early this morning thinking I've got loads of work to do today. So I felt a bit dark cloud, but actually now I've come on and I've seen all your faces, I'm feeling quite sunny and the sun is shining outside and yeah, I'm feeling good. All is good with me today. I know, seeing all your lovely faces, it's just brightened up my morning, as it always does. So yeah, a real mixture of different ways we're all feeling. And on these tea and toast, you'll see that we always like to we kick off with sort of an internal weather, or we do something. So it's a really lovely way of people being able to say how they're feeling without sometimes having to delve too much into sort of personal information. And we all then get a feel of how we're all doing today. So yeah, thanks guys for that. So our topic of the morning is volunteering, but before we go into that, we need to talk about something because we haven't all had one of these tea and toast since last week. So Monday, the big announcement with Boris, the roadmap. How is everybody feeling? Does anyone want to kick us off? Is anyone feeling particularly anxious, or are you feeling happy, or who wants to go? Go on, Laurel, kick us off, lovely.
I'm nervous because this happened last year when we first came out of lockdown, and Boris had a similar roadmap, and it ended us back in lockdown quite quickly. So quite nervous, but quite excited if it actually does happen. Because it's nice actually getting out of your town for a while, or actually getting out of your house. So if it does go well, then yes, it'll be good. But I'm cautious because I like my statistics and I like to know where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I think we have to be cautious this time, don't we? I mean, I watched it intently. I watched, because obviously I'm at home with the two children, homeschooling, and I was watching the Houses of Parliament, which is something I never watched before this pandemic. You would never catch me watching anything like that on the TV. Now, I mean, it must be saved as one of my favourites because I need to know what's going on. So I was watching Boris in the afternoon in the Houses of Parliament. Is it Houses of Parliament? In the Commons.
Yeah.
Whatever, telling the other MPs what the plan was. And as amazing as it sounds, we have got to be cautious, haven't we? Because from what he's saying is, he wants this to be irreversible. So none of us ever want to go through another lockdown like this. So 21st of June, as lovely as it sounds, I'm not sure if we'll all be back to normal. Georgia, what you want to say?
I was going to say, yeah, I think one of the issues that we've had in the last year is that because people didn't see a route out, or they couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, I think a lot of people were just like, well, if this is going to go on perpetually, like forever, then why bother? Like, you may as well just go out and do the things that you were doing before, because there doesn't seem to be a difference. But I'm hoping that with this roadmap, people will turn around and say, actually, I'm just going to behave for the next couple of months, and so then we will actually have an improvement, and people will actually be able to go out and do things quicker because people are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Beth, what do you think? Do you think now that we've got this roadmap set out in front of us, do you think it'll make people follow the rules more, or do you think people, because obviously we all know that people aren't sticking to the rules, a lot of us are, but do you think this roadmap might encourage people to stick to the rules?
I think realistically people should be seeing this as, hang on a minute, we've got a set date that he's saying if you behave, we'll be able to get back to the way things essentially were previous to COVID. But whether or not people see this as go crazy or just get on with it.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like a huge jump from us being where we are now and to June the 21st being back to normal. Like, I mean, does that mean that when he's saying that, concerts and football stadiums and rugby, I just find, as much as I would love that to be true, it feels such a humongous step from where we are now. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you think, Sarah? Is it something it's going to be doable, or are we being a bit optimistic?
I think, I don't know who said this earlier on, that I think it's too much of a big jump. I think if everything was done maybe in stages, and then we might actually get somewhere. As much as we have the vaccinations going on now, but still just getting everything done by the 21st of June, I think we might actually just end up going backwards again and end up with another lockdown, and always going in and out of these lockdowns and not going anywhere really. So I think maybe if it was just done slightly, I think is it Scotland, they're doing it in stages in all different sessions. If we'd done it the same here, maybe it might have been a bit helpful. But hey, Boris has got other ways of thinking.
I mean, the nightclubs, isn't it? They're trying to open the nightclubs on the 21st, and they're saying that you can take the rapid COVID test for 30 minutes, and then if you're negative, you can go in, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
do you know those rapid tests, they are actually 55% effective?
Yeah, they're not.
Oh, really?
They're not very effective at all.
They're not very good.
When I had COVID, I took the rapid test. Well, I had a test on the Saturday, but on the Friday, I had the rapid test, and the results came back in 10 minutes, and I tested positive. And then the NHS test confirmed it. But I have heard that they're not actually 100% accurate.
Yeah. I mean, going to that nightclub thing, though, and if you think, so they're going to do rapid testing outside. So there's going to be a massive group of people waiting for their rapid test. So all very well, the ones that test negative and then off they pop, but then they're potentially then mixing with people who have tested positive, and then off they go home.
And how
exactly, Doris. No, go on.
How does that make any sense for them to put in place tests for people to go outside and then say, oh, but if you're negative, you can carry on. But then you're going to be having these big, massive groups that are going to be going and how can I put it? Effectively don't know whether they're 100% or not, and then mixing and spreading more of this virus.
Well, especially if those tests are only 55%. So then potentially there's people going into the club. It just, that have got it. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're going to come up with this fantastic way of doing it. But to me, at the minute, I agree with the cautiously, the 5 weeks between everything. But I think the likelihood of us being back to normal on the 21st of June is a little bit, what's the word?
Also, normal. What is normal at the moment?
Yeah. Normal didn't work very well last time.
How do we have normal when we've gone from lockdown to lockdown?
Yeah.
To then saying, okay, we're now going to be coming out of lockdown, but it's just as Sarah, Lauren, Jasmin, and Georgia have said. Sorry, Cohen, Georgia. How do we move forward from this? Because we're going to end up back where we were.
Yeah, and that's the scary thing, isn't it? Georgia, are you there? I know she wanted. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Not to be. Can you hear me? Not to be too doom and gloom, but I saw something shared last night about the next big pandemic that they're looking at. Is this? It's another bat transferred thing, and it's like this disease that goes from bats, and it can go into the fruit that bats eat. And then any animal who eats that will be infected, and it can jump through species.
What?
This is a joke.
Is this one of these? Are you sure this isn't one of those horror games that you play online or something?
No,
because this doesn't sound normal to me. Don't tell me that we're going to get another bat-induced pandemic. I know I'm joking now, but on a serious note, I don't think my mental health can cope with another pandemic, to be perfectly honest.
I've just got the article up. Disease X, brain swelling, Nipah virus, 75 times more deadly than COVID, maybe the next pandemic, as scientists warn of, the big one.
I feel like it's just a fear tactic. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there's so much, do you know what I mean? Like, just to control and just to be able to be like, oh, look, there's something coming out, so you guys need to stay in your homes again. Because realistically, Boris has just gone and put hope into every single person in the whole entire nation. Because I know that on my social media, everyone's popping like June the 21st. Everyone's redoing their birthdays. We're doing this, we're doing that.
Yeah.
So then to be told that, oh my gosh, there's a whole other new virus, it's the statistics are trying to kill off people. I genuinely do think it's a fear tactic. They're just trying to keep it in control. Because it's been 2 years since COVID first started.
It's kind of like, sorry, carry on, Laurel. You had your...
I just wanted to say that I don't have any of like this people like trying to put stuff on my feed at the moment because I don't really follow many people. I'm a bit random and I only really follow scientists. I'm a bit of an odd person, but I only follow scientists, and scientists only usually publish data which is peer reviewed, so I don't really have much popping on mine at the moment, but I haven't really checked today yet. But as what I've seen so far, it's just business as usual. It's just hopefully our government follows a bit more of the proper science than just this odd weird science it's been following for the last.
You've got the right idea then, Laurel. Getting the facts straight from the scientists.
Yeah. Well, this is the trouble with social media these days, isn't it? Like, we can all go onto our social media and everyone's posting all different things. I don't know if you guys remember, but when we went into lockdown the first time round last year, I remember going onto my Facebook and someone had put a picture on there of the army in London, and it was like, the army are shutting down London. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, this is so serious. I was texting my husband, oh my God, you're sending the army out. This is really bad. Actually, that didn't even happen. That was just like a Photoshop photo that someone had put on social media and it'd gone boom. But that made me go into an absolute panic, thinking the world's going to end,
And they blow the situation out of proportion.
Yeah.
And I completely agree, because I had a WhatsApp group and there were so many things that were just, as you said, popping off and going off, and it just adds to the doom and gloom of the world. Oh my God, this is going on, that's going on, and it just kind of where is the real statistics? Like Laurel said, we need the real scientists to come out with some serious evidence.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's why you have to take some of these things that we read on social media with a pinch of salt, because, quite often it's not exactly what's going on. And I know my friends laugh at me because I've never been very political. I've never really watched the news. But since this pandemic started, like last year, I think when they used to do the daily briefing at 5 o'clock, I literally got addicted to it every day. But what ended up happening, because I felt like I need to know exactly what's going on, and they're going to be the ones to tell me. And Chris Whitty, I'm going to watch his slides and they're going to tell me what's going on. But it got to the point where it was probably more detrimental to me than it was doing good. But I've become addicted. And even like now we're back here, I check every day, is there a coronavirus briefing? If I can watch the stuff in the House of Commons, I'm watching that. Because it's for me, this whole pandemic has really made me feel like you've really lost control of our lives. And I'm someone who likes control. I like to know what's going on, and I'm going to choose if I'm doing that, or I'm going to choose if I'm going on holiday. And have that all taken away from you, it's really quite hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really difficult to have that balance between taking the pandemic really seriously and saying, I'm not going to, mix with other people. I'm only going to go out when I have to, all of this. And then on the other side, not letting it impact you to such an extent that you feel like everything is just doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah. And that's a difficult line to sort of,
to cross between, because there's such a thin line with that.
Yeah.
And I would also say, like, it's so difficult because you see that there's all these things going on in the pandemic, and yet the PMs and the people in the House of Commons, Boris Johnson, they're getting COVID, but then they're completely contradicting themselves.
Yeah.
And they're going out social distancing, travelling to Wales and all sorts,
Not wearing masks.
Do you remember when Boris Johnson's dad was like in a shop or something without a face covering?
Yeah.
And everyone was going like, literally, your son's had COVID. We've got all these things going on. And then wasn't he like not fined in the end?
Yeah, they didn't find him.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't find him. But you have, like, say, like a poor person or a working class person that may not have access to face coverings or whatever. Do you think they would have been let off like a £10,000 fine? I don't think so.
Like
Absolutely not.
Like recently, I think it was the Prince of, like, I think it was Prince Charles, or it was Prince. I think Prince Charles.
Prince Charles.
Thanks. He's in hospital at the moment in Birmingham, and his dad
Prince
drove
Philip,
up.
right?
He drove all the way up to go and see him, and then drove all the way back down, which was making like a 200-mile trip. And he didn't get any. I don't think anything's happened to him. And he drove 200 miles.
Yeah, that's the same as it.
Say that they had that it's exempt. Like if it's like if it's a serious condition, you're allowed to go in and see.
But the media are saying it's not a serious condition; it's just an infection, and he'll be out in a couple of days. Yeah. So, which is it?
Yeah.
But think about how many people. Think about how many people have died in hospital without their loved ones.
It's so true. So true.
Well, it's like Amanda Holden, you know, the one who does Britain's Got Talent. Yeah. She drove, I don't know if it was about 200 miles to Cornwall or somewhere to visit her parents, completely breaking all the rules. And she cited it was a family, you know, crisis. But hold on a sec, if it was one of us doing that and we had a family crisis and we got caught, I'm telling you now, we would be the ones being fined.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Where's the fairness in all of this? What's going on?
It's one rule for rich people, one rule for people who aren't. Quite frankly, that's how I feel.
And it's kind of like they're trying to keep us in this bubble, as they said, so that we have to listen, as you said, Georgia, exactly what they do. And I think that also goes not just with the COVID-19, but you've got to think all these people that are on like benefits. Oh, if you don't do this, we're going to take this off of you. If you don't do that, we're going to take that from you. It's
Absolutely.
just a complete, utter control.
Well, I tell you what,
one person and another thing for another.
Something that really annoys me, I don't know if any of you saw it yesterday, is Matt Hancock. Throughout this whole pandemic, I do not like this man. I don't think he's done a good job. He annoys me when he does interviews. But yesterday, he was on Good Morning Britain. And Piers Morgan, whether you like him or not, he does try to hold people accountable, especially throughout this pandemic. I like watching his interviews. Yeah. And so they interviewed him yesterday because they're saying that actually Matt Hancock has broken the law by not publishing some of the reports. But they're not. But nothing's happening to him, and he went onto national TV yesterday morning and basically just didn't acknowledge what he'd done, and basically said, you should be thanking my team." And like Piers Morgan said, "Hold on a second, we've had over 100,000 deaths in this country."
I've seen.
You know, I was honestly that man. He needs to be sacked. He's a terrible, terrible MP, in my opinion. I do not like him.
And he was saying that, you know, how can you be carrying on saying that, oh, you're well enough to go when you've got COVID-19, you're now spreading it to other people, and then you're not preventing the situation by going out and partying at the House of Commons and all those types of things. And then, on top of that, what was he saying? He was, sorry, God, Laura.
About the PPE?
Yes.
Yeah, because he won't admit that we had a horrendous shortage of PPE, and instead of saying, "Look, we messed up, we were in a panic, we hadn't prepared for this." Sometimes I think if these MPs were just a bit more honest and just went, "We messed up, we've never done this before, we're sorry," you know. Laurel, what do you want to say?
I was just going to say that I think, from what I remember reading recently in the news, that Matt Hancock's got charged by the courts for unlawful claims for PPE because he gave it away. He literally gave it away to his mate who had a company, and at the time, all they were making really were, I think it was cups, bakeware, and I think it was something else as well, not PPE.
And they got a government contract for PPE.
They got a government contract.
Honestly, Jasmin, if you looked at all of the contracts that have been awarded, even in like the last year and a bit, I think your hair would fall out.
Yeah, I think you'd get really angry.
Surely the shock. It's literally
awful.
Yeah, it's like you could literally have like a family tree of like, you know, here's Boris, and then all the contracts of companies that are related to Boris, and then all the ones who relate to like another, you know, Conservative MP and so on. Like,
it's terrible, isn't it?
It's so corrupt.
It is so
awful.
corrupt, and it's such a sham. And it's just, I just wish they'd be a bit more accountable, because I think we'd have more respect for them. None of us are perfect. No, no political party are perfect, and we could all understand if they'd have just like, we've done wrong, we messed up, we're going to try and make it better. But it's the way they then act, and like you say, with just dishing out all those contracts to their friends, and it's really bad. It's terrible. They need to be held accountable, but will they? I don't think they ever will be. Do you?
I don't think they will. But the other thing is, you've got to look at places like Switzerland and like New Zealand, how they've looked at the situation. They've kept their country safe, and they've gone back into lockdown, and they've not had any. Well, I can't say that they've not had any cases, but they've considerably removed a lot of
New Zealand as well.
restriction, like not restrictions, but they've put in a lot of prevention.
Well, I think I heard the other day, like New Zealand, obviously New Zealand have done brilliant, haven't they? But then the other day they might have had like literally 2 or 3 cases, and she locked them down again, that area, lockdown, because they've done so well. And this is where we've gone so wrong. Let everyone come into our country, let everyone do what they want.
And it's so easy to spread. It's so easy to spread, because sometimes people don't even show up with symptoms. I know some people in my church, they had COVID, and they had different symptoms to me. It was just like, do you know what I mean? Like, everyone just, so it's hard to, I think there has to be quite harsh measurements put in place when there's like a big outbreak, but just for a short period of time to get all the numbers back down and then open everything. But I think what they're doing in opening up everything, even they said that all legal limitations will be lifted, social distance measures will be lifted on June the 21st. I just think it's really silly.
Well, they say that you're supposed to get all vaccinations for adults done by July, and I'm like, you're having a laugh if you're going to get all adults done by July. Like,
do you not think that will happen then, or no?
I think with everything else going on, I think it's a bit optimistic by July, because they did say the autumn, and autumn is like September, October, and it's now jumped like 2 months. And unless we have lots more vaccinators, and I don't think there is.
Did you want to say something, Sarah?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that I think this country, we are far, far away from getting rid of COVID-19. Just like Doris gave example of New Zealand and Sweden, who have managed to at least make their country safe. We are far away from that, because I feel and I think this country is not being strict enough. People are getting away with a lot of things. Fine, we've talked about how government officials have managed to get away with all sorts of things, and it's just not them. I was thinking late last year, if you remember, from Northampton, we had the big Marks and Spencer sandwich company that had about 300 people who were COVID positive, but that was never locked down at all. Yeah, so you get
how was that allowed to happen? Why wasn't that locked down?
God knows how. And because no one is really following all this up. My brother works in a warehouse in Bracknell's there. At one time on his shift, where there's 57 people, 38 people were positive, and still the company didn't lock down.
Oh my goodness.
Because of all this, and I think the government, they've got some kind of own interests in all these warehouses being open. Just because of that, we will never be able to get rid of the COVID-19, or it will take us forever to get rid of this, really.
Yeah.
I guess the other side of... Sorry, go on, Lauren.
I was just going to say, what do you think, Chelsea? Have you got any thoughts on it?
I think it will be very difficult for everything to be back to normal by June.
Yeah.
Because even if, I mean, I don't know what's happening with the airports and things like that, but even if we open them back up at the same time, countries which aren't having that much control over their cases may still be allowed into this country, and then we'll be back to square one again.
So true.
Yeah, I guess, go on, Doris.
I don't feel that we've come out of the situation. I feel we're still in a big mess
Yeah.
at the moment.
I think we are.
And we've got a long way to go.
We have, yeah. You see, the thing is, this topic, I could talk about this all day. There's just so many different, there's still stuff I want to say, but I'm going to save it for tomorrow because it's probably time that we moved on to something else. But it is one of those subjects. It's consuming us all so much in our lives that you can just constantly talk about different things. We haven't even touched on something which we'll touch on tomorrow, tomorrow's Teens Host. So I really want to talk about schools go back and how people feel about that. I want to talk about the potential COVID passport, the vaccine passport. So we'll do that tomorrow. But there's just so many different elements to this conversation that we could go on all day, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But no, that was a really good chat, and it's really nice to hear other people's different opinions. And I think actually we're all actually quite similar on that. In that we're still in a bit of a mess, and as lovely as the 21st sounds, Boris, let's just perhaps be a bit more sensible and watch this space, I guess, because who knows what's going to happen. Everything's got to hit those 4 targets that they've set, haven't they, the data targets, so we shall see. Okay, let's move on from COVID for a bit then. So actually today's Tea and Toast is all about volunteering. So let's have a little chat. So who wants to chat? Who's ever done any volunteering before? Who's gone then? Laurel, you had your hand up first. Tell us about your volunteering experience.
I've done volunteering with youth before, so I've done a bit of community. I've done a bit of volunteering with youth. So I've done like sometimes we played table tennis with them, we played basketball, we played football, played rounders. Sometimes made slime with some of them. So that's what I've done in the past.
Oh, brilliant. What about you, Beth? Have you done some volunteering?
Yeah, I have. I volunteer with Northampton Youth Offending Service, and I sit on...
Oh, you do that at the minute?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
So I sit on their restorative justice panels.
Oh, that sounds really interesting. So what do you actually do? What does that mean? Because I'm a bit stupid. What does that mean?
When young people offend, they're given court orders, and instead restorative justice is basically trying to keep them out of youth offending institutions. And what we do as a panel is we meet with them to discuss things that we're going to include in a contract for them. So this can include reparation, so that'll be doing a set amount of hours, either with an organisation or just within the home. Depending on the offence, they could have victim awareness. We do knife crime intervention, which everyone has to do at the moment, because obviously it's such a rife problem.
Oh, yeah.
And then we just work with them to get them through.
That sounds so interesting.
So how do you get
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll have to find out how you got into that. Tell us, how did you end up volunteering for them? Did you approach them?
Yeah. For my undergraduate, I did criminology, and one of the modules we did was about youth offending. So I just found that really interesting and thought, what can I do that will get me a foot in there? So I contacted them and said,
oh.
And so how does it work? Do you do like a set amount of hours a week, or is it ad hoc?
Yeah, at the moment, obviously, because we're having to do it through Zoom, it's very like, can you sit on this one on this day? Whereas normally you would get a set a few months in advance.
Oh, okay. And is it like, do they have lots of volunteers there, or is it mostly paid staff? How does it work there?
There are quite a few. There's more now than when I first started in November of 2019. There's a lot more now than when I started. I think it wasn't something that I knew about, so I don't think that a lot of people know that it's a thing.
Mm.
But it is good.
Yeah, that sounds something I'd really be interested in. I really like the sound of that. I think it sounds like it would also be quite rewarding, which is brilliant. Chelsea, have you done any volunteering before?
Not a lot. I used to help in the school library when I was at school, and I did go back during the summer, when university finished, because that finishes before the school does, and used to help in some classrooms there. But yeah, it is quite nice when you're actually like seeing people and you know that you've helped them that day do something that they've probably been able to do on their own. So
oh yeah, absolutely. Sarah, what about you? Have you ever done any volunteering?
Oh yes, I've done quite a bit, and at the moment, mine is though slightly different because some people would think, is it really volunteering? I volunteer at my church, and
Okay.
yeah, so usually at the weekends, I help out with all whatever activities that are arranged there, and usually when we have meetings, I'm good at a bit of secretarial, so I do the minute writing and all sorts. So that's my bit of
Oh,
volunteering. Yeah.
I love it. What about you, Lauren?
I used to be a support worker, volunteering. So that was just working with families who've been like referred to social services, and because like social services obviously they get a lot of social workers get a lot of cases, they can't always be hands on with the family on a weekly basis. So that's where the role of like a support worker would come in. So I would visit them weekly, and we would like set some goals of what they wanted to achieve in a set amount of time. Um, and then I would work with them and then write up like a report and send it off to the social worker. So although the social worker obviously made the decisions and stuff like that, I would be in contact more with the families and just build like a rapport with them to try and help them achieve whatever
Yeah.
they're trying to achieve. So I really, really, really enjoyed that, and it gave me a good insight and just practical experience into what the area that I kind of want to go into.
Yeah.
So it was
I mean,
good.
that sounds another really rewarding one. How did you get
Yeah.
into that? Did you approach them or did you see it advertised? How was that?
Well, when I used to go to, when I was in year 11, I used to go to the library. Like we had like a town library, so and that was like the link up spot. So we used to go there, and then I saw them, like advertising, and I wanted to do it. We had to be 18, so I had to wait until I was 18, and then I went on a volunteering course, and it kind of went from there. But I only saw it because of that time that I went in the library. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds really good. And what about you, Doris? What's your volunteering experience like?
So I've only done a little bit of volunteering, if I'm going to be honest. I've worked for a primary school. Well, it wasn't work, it was volunteering for a primary school. And it was kind of just like a little bit of teaching assistance, helping with the kids, getting on with some work and providing some, just a little bit of general help around the school. And it was really useful and interesting, and it was also kind of related to sport because that's what I've been interested in doing through togetherness with the videos. So it was kind of it was useful, and it was just really nice to work with and interact with the youth.
Yeah, I think that's another sort of rewarding volunteer job in a primary school. I volunteered in a primary school before, and like you, same as you, really. I just used to do a bit of reading with the children, and just sort of a bit of helping out. And depending on whether you like working with kids or not, I love that. That was before I had children myself, and it was just I think the primary school age is a lovely age to work with, and you feel like you're giving something back a bit, don't you?
And it definitely is very rewarding. Like
definitely.
All the families and the children, they're so kind, and you just get so many good benefits from that.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Georgia? Whilst you're here, you keep popping in and out and in and out. Georgia's got so many. You've got a real rubbish technology day.
Yeah. It's Virgin need to sort it out for me. But yeah, I've got lots of experience doing sort of like micro volunteering, which is where you like do sort of tasks for charities or organisations instead of like the normal sort of 9 to 5.
And she's gone. She obviously got bored of talking about that, and she thought, I'm off. So yeah, I think Georgia's told me about this before. This micro volunteering is where I think you all join. So it's like an online sort of group, and people post things in there. Like, for example, if your thing's technology, could someone design a poster, or could someone put together? So you're not actually full time with that specific company or organisation, that they just post out little bits that they need doing and see who can help them. The other volunteering that I've done, and it's not really so much, well, I suppose it does come under volunteering, is that I have been on the PTA of my children's school for 7 years, and I'm chair of the PTA. And that is volunteering really, because it's a big, big job. I mean, Sarah, you'll probably know, with you saying about you doing like admin and stuff for your church. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff like that I have to do, and organise Christmas fairs and summer fairs and all the lovely things for the children, which unfortunately we haven't been able to. I've had the easiest year on the PTA of my life, because we're not going to do anything. There's not been a summer fair, there's not been a Christmas fair. Normally we do an Easter egg hunt for the children. Like, and I don't think we'll be able to even do, well, we won't be able to do that this year. So yeah, I love doing it because it feels rewarding. Like, I feel like I'm giving back to my children's school, and we raised money, and not last year because of obviously COVID and whatnot, but the year before we raised 10 grand for them.
Wow.
And it feels like I'm giving something back to, you know, my children love their school. It's a lovely little village school, so it makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something worthwhile
for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So why do you think people volunteer? You know, is it something to do for them? Is it to give back? What do you think?
I think a little bit generosity out of their own heart and the kindness of people. That ones that, for example, when I done that at the school, my brother used to work at that school. He used to go to that school. So it's kind of like my way of saying, okay, I'm now going to help out for them. And it was kind of like, I'm providing for someone that has helped someone in my family. So now it made me feel happy by helping others. That's why I am motivated, because it makes my mental health feel well. It makes me feel stable, and it just gives me a general feeling of happiness and joy.
Yeah, completely. What about you, Beth?
I think.
Oh, sorry, Sarah.
Sorry, Sarah.
You're next, Sarah.
I think for me, it's like you were saying, it's a very rewarding thing, especially when you can see something from the start all the way through to the finish. It's like you see that development, for me, in the young person, but to be in the community, things like that. Just following it through, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. What's you going to say, Sarah? Sorry.
Oh, just like what Beth has just said, it's seeing the end product. You know, I'm going in there, doing it, my bit to the community. I'm not getting paid for it. It's because I love doing this. I love helping other people, and see the result. And then you actually think, oh, this is good work that we've done. So it's about doing something for someone and without having to get paid, which is lovely.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but like, sorry, Lauren, I'll come to you next. But when I organise like a big Christmas fair or summer fair at my kids' school, it's really hard work. I'm so stressed out, and my husband will say to me, "Why do you do this? Just quit, just quit." But the buzz I get at the end of it, when them children have had the best Christmas fair ever, we've raised X amount of money for the school. I then get that really nice buzz, like you said, Doris. I feel happy, I feel proud, I feel we've done something good, and you know, it's just back, isn't it? Yeah, it's worth all the stress. Absolutely. Go on, Lauren. Sorry.
Like everyone's been saying, like I think, you know, when you enjoy something, volunteering, it's like it's you don't see it as like you don't see it like Sarah was saying, like for the money or whatever, because you enjoy something that's coming from you. But I know for me, like the area that I was volunteering with was with a lot of vulnerable or deprived families. So for me, who hasn't come from or I haven't come from or been in that environment before, I felt like even though it wasn't always you didn't always see the end result that you wanted, I felt like I was able to impart a bit of me and, you know, what I had growing up into another family or into another person. So it's that what really helped what I lacked volunteering in that specific arena is that I could put something into someone else who maybe they haven't had that.
Inspire others, give them some motivation to maybe take a part of your life, and then it can change theirs. Is that what you're kind of saying? Like,
Yeah, 100%. No, completely agree with you guys there. I guess then you can look on the other side of the coin, can't you, for volunteering and go, well, actually, it can be really good for you personally as well, for your own professional career, for your own growth, for your own having volunteering on the reason why to be perfectly honest with you, the reason I first volunteered in a primary school years ago, pre-children, was because my sister said to me, I was not working I wasn't working, but I was all right money. I didn't need the money. So she said, do some volunteering. She said, because it looks really good on your CV. It's really worthwhile, and you will get that sort of buzz out of it. So as much as we've all sort of said the reason why we do what we do is because it makes us feel good, and that it does also have personal gains for you, doesn't it? If you go into future jobs and employers look at your CV and see that you've volunteered and you've sort of stuck at something, really shows what sort of person you are, I think. Georgie, you're back.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Did you get any of what I said before?
No.
Oh my god. So I'm having a lot of internet issues today. So what
Georgia,
I was saying,
this is concerning me for later.
So what I've done now is I've plugged my phone into my computer, which acts as a hotspot.
Okay.
So it should be absolutely fine now. But I was saying, God, what was I saying?
You're talking about micro volunteering.
Yes. So I was saying, A, Virgin needs to put its finger out because this is not on, and B, I've done a lot of micro volunteering, which is where instead of like doing a 9 to 5 position volunteering, instead you just do specific tasks, which might include data entry or graphic design, or just turning up for something and being supportive. So yeah, if you can Google micro volunteering, if you only have 15 minutes, half an hour, then that might be the absolute right match for you.
Georgia,
definitely.
With that as well, I'm just a bit interested. Could you tell me a little bit more? I'm going to do some research, but if you could just dive a tiny bit more into that for me, please.
Yeah, sure. So I can't remember exactly the website that I used to use, but I'll post it when I can find it. So basically, it would be like a list of jobs that need doing, and then you would choose one of those tasks, and then you would either get in touch with the people or you would just do it. Like if it was a poster, you'd just go ahead and do it, and then you would post it on that thread, and then they would kind of get back to you and say, oh yeah, like we're going to use this for our event, or yeah, can you do this on this day, etc. So it's a very quick and easy way of volunteering, but you don't necessarily need to leave your house. So if that's something that we can't do at the moment, then yeah. And then obviously you've got the yard as well. You can volunteer for the yard. So I
was just going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. So go on, Laurel, before I kick into my little...
I've in the past in my local town where I've youth volunteered, we've done a music event. It used to be called Simonton's, somewhere over Simonton's. So it used to be a music event, and we used to plan volunteer, plan the whole thing, and the day would come up and you'd get nervous, and it'd be really good after, and it's that relief. It's
it's that buzz after, isn't it? It's that buzz that you get, which is great. Yeah. So yeah, obviously at the yard, you'll see we've got a couple of our volunteers on here, and we're always looking for volunteers. The last question I just quickly wanted to put to you guys is: so what difference do you think that a volunteer can make to an organisation? Maybe in particular smaller organisations. What difference does having those people? How does that impact that organisation? Do you think? Go on, Lauren.
I think networking. I feel like with smaller organisations, I feel like when people will come and volunteer, you know how they say word of mouth is the biggest form of advertisement. As you begin to volunteer, as you begin to invest, you have people, you have friends, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm volunteering today for such and such. And you're like, oh, what's that? And then you begin to talk about it, and then you never know, that person could go away, they could be in a conversation with someone else, and they could say something, they'll be like, oh, my friend actually volunteers for this company, I'll get you guys in contact. You never know, the organisation could be of a help to you. So I feel like it's especially for smaller company organisations, I think volunteering is really crucial because it just helps to build their status and, you know, their connections, and you never know who people know, and it's like through the word of mouth.
Go on, Georgia.
Yeah, it can provide
I think
new opportunities.
I think that Beth touched on this a little bit earlier. I think I got what she was saying. But there is a fact that the most important aspect of the volunteering opportunity, like in a survey, was that it's training in a future career. So sometimes what volunteering can do is it can actually give you the opportunity to kind of get free training. I mean, in nowadays, you don't get any education for free, really, do we? Considering, I think most of us are at uni or have been at uni, and the tuition fees are just extortionate. So if you can get any kind of free education and any training that doesn't cost you anything apart from your time, I think that's a very valuable asset to you.
Absolutely.
Organisation.
You know, especially if you think, you know, at the minute, so many more people have got more time on their hands at the minute. So putting that to some sort of good use can only be a winner, can't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
But then I guess, like, you know, we talk about how it benefits us as a person, but then going back to sort of, it also has such a huge impact on the organisation. Let's take the Yard, for example. We're a really small organisation in terms of staff-wise. So especially when we've had to move things online and we can't see people, having those extra bodies there, having those extra voices, having those extra opinions really turns our tea and toast sessions, our community circle, any of the you know, the community stuff we've got going on, is having those additional people is really priceless, isn't it, Georgia? It's what makes these sessions work, because obviously when we go back to the real world, and we're hoping maybe by sort of April time we'll be back in the building, depending on all the, you know, the data and the figures, and these tea and toast, we'll be sitting down having a cup of tea with you all in real life, and you know, literally cannot wait for that. But yeah, especially on these online versions of what we do, having those extra bodies is just so valuable to us. So we're very, very grateful for anyone who comes along and volunteers. If you're watching and you think it's something you might be interested in, you can drop us a line at theyard@communitycourtyard.org. You can message us on any of our social media, or you know, get in touch, because you may not be sure what you can add to the team, but I'm telling you now, there's definitely something. Go on, Georgia.
So I know that, I don't know if we've sort of touched on this, but our friends at Voluntary Impact Northamptonshire actually have a monthly drop-in session that you can go on to sort of learn more about their volunteering, what opportunities they have. And they should actually be joining us, hopefully, at some point in the future for one of our Teas and Toasts. But yeah, so check out Voluntary Impact Northamptonshire. And also wanted to give a shout out to the Lowdown, who also have volunteering opportunities as well.
Awesome, yeah. I think there's actually more going on in Northampton than what some of us realise, isn't there? And if you're thinking, I really want to volunteer and I don't know which way to go or where to approach, give us a shout, and what we'll do is we'll signpost you to. Oh, little cat just walked past you then, Georgia. I just literally looked down and there was a cat's tail in your face.
I was trying to give a strong face, just ignore it.
That's fine. It's either children or animals at the moment. You know, we've all got to get to grips with these sessions. We'll have a kid running in, a cat, a dog, a doorbell. There'll always be something going on.
Yeah.
You know, the joys of online working from home. What was I saying before your cat just walked in front of you? I've lost my.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
That's how you could volunteer.
Yeah. If you want to volunteer, but and you're just thinking, I'm not sure which way to turn, whatever, get in touch with us, because part of what we want to do is be that intermediary, and, you know, we'll signpost you to different organisations. We'll let you, you know, help you learn more about different organisations that are going on in Northampton. And cat again. Every time I say that, it's coming back. I've lost my train of thought again now, Georgia.
Sorry. If you want to volunteer,
I had something. I had another sentence. No, I had another sentence in my head that I was just going to say, and it was really good.
Get in touch.
Get in touch.
Message us, email us at theyard@communitycourtyard.org, or you could talk to us on Twitch, or you could talk to us on Facebook, or you could talk to us on Instagram. There is absolutely no reason why you can't get in touch today and say, I like cats as well.
Yeah, just have a chat with us. We don't care what you want to talk about. Anything will do. Okay, so that's about us done for this morning. But before you all go, do not forget. Is your cat there again? Right, stop trying to put me off. Come on. We have got our monthly community circle this afternoon. So we're going to be online again at 12:30 till 2 o'clock. And this month's topic is all about stress, which we all think as a team is really relevant at the minute, because stress is something we all deal with anyway, but particularly at the moment with this pandemic, stress levels are so yeah, we're going to just delve a bit more deeper into that and how we all cope and how we're all feeling. So if you can join us again at 12:30, please do come along. We'd love you to be part of the conversation. If not, tomorrow's Tea and Toast is at 10:30. Check out our Facebook page. We've got our timetable on there of everything we've got going on. But have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for this morning. I love that. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you later.
Bye. See you at 12:30.
12:30.
Bye-bye.